All right, the teleportation worked. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Boston FinTech Week. Hope you guys are super excited for another great discussion on blockchain, NFTs, curation, and all the good things that come along with that. If you are just joining us, today is our special focus on DeFi, blockchain with Algorand, our incredible sponsors and partners for today's programming. So big shout out to them, big ups, especially seeing Steve and Silvio and Sean today. Awesome lineup, and we're continuing it with another great lineup with Jonathan Ohliger and Pat Larsen. So really excited for you guys to be here. Remember, everyone who's viewing at home, we want you to interact. We want you to ask those questions. Ask them what their favorite pizza flavor is, things like that. So you can do that in your Q&A on the right-hand side of your screen. And there's also a chat under the session tab. So you can have conversations, keep it going, get that dialogue. We can get this viral. All right, so I would love to just pass it off for some personal interviews. We'll get to the companies later, but first, let's start with you, Jonathan.
Hello, how are you doing?
We're doing good.
Talk to me, what would you like to know?
Tell me about you. Tell me about, what brought you here.
Sure. So I'm the CEO and a founder of a company called VEEPIO. VEEPIO is happens to be the entrepreneurs in residence at Advantage Ventures at West Virginia University. And our goal is to utilize new technology in the blockchain to pay players for name, image, and likeness. So I don't know if you've heard, but college players can now get paid for their name, image, and likeness. It's now legal since July 1st. And so we cut the first partnership with the university of its kind in the country. And we're really focused on using these technologies to pay the players and to change their lives.
That's amazing. Pat, let's hear it from you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Pat Larsen. Interesting background, I guess, would be I used to be a Navy helicopter pilot, did a couple of tours in combat search and rescue, got into FinTech, and co-founded ZenLedger in 2017. And we're kind of like the TurboTax for cryptocurrency. So we help you bring all your transactions in one place, do your accounting and portfolio management, work with your tax professional. We work with big four accounting firms, all the way down to individual crypto whales, and just help you get everything in order, low stress, make smart money decisions. And we work with, DeFi, NFTs, ICOs, the next thing.
Yeah, thank you both for being here. We're super excited. And since we're talking about blockchain, I would love to hear a little bit more into how both of your companies are supporting the creator economy in and of itself. So Jonathan, for you, tell me a little bit more about how you're allowing for the name, image, and likeness for your college athletes. How are you letting them secure the bag?
Sure. Yeah, I just want to say I'm really excited to be here with Patrick. A helicopter pilot. I know he's got a steady hand, so I feel so much more comfortable. That's probably great training to be a startup CEO, right?
You got it. The first thing is keep a really cool voice no matter what's going on. And the other thing is, it's not life and death. Like it's okay. That was a bad email. We'll get through it.
All right. So the way we're creating an intersection between the creator economy and blockchain technology to facilitate payments to players is we're helping them monetize their name, image, and likeness. So we thought the best place to start would be to create a technology that would allow you to connect objects within media to additional content. And then if that interaction and that user journey and the outcome of that user journey can be stored on the blockchain, it'll be a fantastic thing, because then we could pay all the players for use of their name, image, and likeness, and for all the products and services that are sold, facilitating that transaction, whatever it may be. And so we're really excited because, if you look at a professional sports team, just in their media alone within their mobile apps, they publish about 1.2 billion units of media a year. And so our technology allows you to make objects within those photos, videos, or video podcasts interactive. So a box will appear around them, and then we will deliver the entire internet inside that unit of media. So really any object within the photo or the video can be monetized. And we think it's going to unlock thousands of new revenue streams for the players and the creators of that content. where each side, the creator and the viewer, can be paid.
Yeah, I've checked out your tool, and it is really exciting to be able to branch out, and when people are in one place, giving them the whole world, like you mentioned, right in front of them. Tell us a little bit about the times you've worked with professional teams. I know you've got a pretty cool roster going on at VEEPIO.
Yeah, we do. So we were fortunate enough to, my co-founders, we all played football at West Virginia together. And then one of us had a great NFL career. He just retired after 9.5 years. And what was so interesting is we got together and we had a mutual understanding from playing on the field, really like the business of football, what was going on. And we really knew that our name, image, and likeness, we weren't allowed to get paid in college, but we were in the pro. So we really saw the evolution of how these laws were going to change. And we really started to we actually thought we'd be in college 4 years ago, but we got the opportunity in the NFL first. And we did, I think, a good job, good enough where the Philadelphia Eagles decided to back us. So they own an interest in us, which is really cool. And I think it's the first time a player and an owner have ever partnered in the owner's primary business, which is really, really cool for us. But we're super excited about college because of everything we learned in the NFL. So we've literally already made all the mistakes that people are going to make. And so the fact that we can deliver that knowledge and just the absence of mistakes as these players start to create their influencer marketing business as creators, right? To monetize payments, to capture them, to pay taxes, all this kind of stuff, we can really just help them avoid trouble. And we want to continue to build them tools which will automate that and give them a digital store of those interactions so they can use them for the rest of their lives. And so we're really excited because we think by helping them and giving them a little bit right now, you're going to change the trajectory of their life forever. And we just feel lucky to have the opportunity to be able to do something that makes money, but also provides a positive social impact. Because that's not always the easiest thing to do.
No, absolutely. And your work has already been impactful in the NFL, and now that the NCAA is opening up a whole new world for athletes and sports business in general, that is so incredible to hear. And Pat, this brings me to you. So now you have a whole new world, a whole new league of athletes, of creators, of entrepreneurs that are entering the world of blockchain, crypto, and things like that. How does ZenLedger give them a primer and help them jump through all of the fun hoops that comes along with the regulatory landscape of blockchain?
Yeah, I'm sorry to break this to you guys, but cryptocurrency is taxed, income is taxed, capital gains is taxed. It's a hard, bitter pill to swallow, but we'll get through it. And so it's kind of this whole thesis that's evolving, right? It used to be 4 years ago, you're just kind of trading tech stocks as crypto. You'd like buy some Tesla, buy some Bitcoin, and hope they both moon, right? But now there's just this plethora of ways to earn income. We have people who work at Coinbase earn income in cryptocurrency and use ZenLedger to help pay the taxes and accounting. And that's kind of what we can help for creators as well. So as you create your NFTs or earn income streams from name, image, likeness, that's income. And so you have to report that federally and depending on the state, to the state. And if you're in New York City, then, to the city or whatever as well. And then you'll probably hold some of it, right? Maybe you're earning stablecoin, but more likely you'll probably be earning in a cryptocurrency, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or some other token built specifically for, an NFT marketplace, right? And that token will fluctuate against the dollar. So you'll need some software to tell you exactly what the price point was when you earned it, and then when you sold it later on, short-term and long-term capital gains. And that's what we do for you. You need a portfolio view because you'll probably keep some stable coin on platform. You'll keep some stable coin over at Coinbase. You'll bring it out to dollars at your Bank of America. You'll buy some Bitcoin. You'll buy some Ethereum. You'll jump into DeFi, earn 8% interest instead of leaving it in Bank of America. So it'll quickly get into a lot of different places because there's a lot of cool places in crypto to be moving your assets around. But no one's going to keep track of it for you. An Excel spreadsheet's not going to do it. Coinbase won't do it. The NFT platform won't do it. Bank of America won't do it. You'll need software to bring it all together so that at any point in time, what's trading at a loss that you could sell right now? What's trading at a gain that you could sell for a long-term gain versus short-term? How much money you have to set aside for income tax? Because no one's like it's not a payroll system. No one's setting aside cash for you for that income. So we can help you with cash management, so you don't like all of a sudden have a big bill at the end of the year. We can help you think about how you plan out that portfolio management, where all your assets are, because sometimes you can forget that you actually have like 3 MyEther wallets instead of 1, and all these other things, and just keep it really clean. January 1st, you're like, oh, the IRS owes me $1,000, and you can just file right away for that refund and get your refund January 1st. Or you're like, oh, I have quite a significant tax bill. Like last year was very good. I think I'm going to extend till October 15th, but I'll go ahead and file my payment April 15th. That's estimated, and we'll clean this up as we go. But like, no need to have stress. It's all clean and current, and I'm ready to roll.
You sound like you have so many things organized and figured out. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I hear blockchain or NFTs, I just think there's a whole lot I still have no idea about and will probably never know about. So, I mean, how do you manage to keep up to date with how regulations, rules, things are all fluctuating every day?
Yeah. Well, the one thing we don't have to worry about is like a very fast moving and active Congress. That doesn't seem to be what's happening in cryptocurrency. Congress has not passed very much legislation. The IRS has sued Coinbase. That suit was successful in 2018. And most companies in the United States that like our exchanges or DeFi lenders, they do know your customer and anti-money laundering. So KYC, AML. So that's why you have to show your passport with the date and everything. They need to know who you are so that you are properly accounted for and taxed for. The IRS, page 1, will ask you from now on, yes or no, did you transact in digital assets this year? It'll ask you and your tax professional. So everyone's kind of on record there. And all the US-based exchanges are sending like your aggregate trading activity to the IRS. It's called a 1099-K. You could trade $10 million of Bitcoin. Like you could trade $100 of Bitcoin over and over and over and over and over again and lose a little bit. But the 1099-K will just say, hey, $10 million of aggregate activity. It doesn't mean anything, but you'll kind of be on record answering yes or no with digital assets and some of your trading history. So these are things like you do have to worry about compliance. So far, it's been pretty easy to kind of skate by and not worry too much about compliance, but that's going to get more and more difficult each year. So what we kind of do is we pay attention to regulation and legislation. We pay attention to this infrastructure bill, and we'll see what happens there. But there'll probably be like a 2-year implementation window. And then we talk to the exchanges a lot to see what information they're providing, what we can help clean up. We suggest changes to information formats to make it easier for accounting. And then we listen to our customers. We have tens of thousands of customers, and the customer will ask, hey, do you support Solana yet? And we'll be like, oh, that's interesting. It's a $5 token, $20, $35. Okay, well, yeah, we'll start supporting Solana now. It looks like a lot of people are in Solana. And we'll just be very responsive to those things. Like, hey, I'm on OpenSea now. Hey, I own CryptoPunks. Like, oh, okay, we'll start building in integration to ingest those transactions and pull in those market prices as we go. So we're just we're very attentive to what our customers are actually doing and the transactions they need to account for. And then we're always looking out in the industry and in legislation to see kind of what's coming down so we can be there for you, before it becomes an issue.
Wow, that is a lot to handle, but it's also really, insightful, and I will trust you with all of my further taxes. So you've got another customer. Anyway, Jonathan, I do have another question for you. So, Pat was just talking about how there are so many moving parts, but yet this also provides a sense of a new frontier, some new agency, some new opportunities for people to, build income, generate wealth. You easily could have done, marketing deals in the traditional sense. Why did you end up doing it through a fintech company? Why did you end up doing it tied to blockchain? Like, why did you choose this path as opposed to a more traditional,
Sure,
maybe safer path?
I kind of have a unique background, and I'll explain it the way they would in Hollywood. Give me the same thing, only different, right? Give me the same exact thing, only different. Give me Avengers 6, not Avengers 5. So I actually built high frequency trading systems in New York City for about 12 years prior to doing this. And I think I've already seen this movie before. So during the financial crisis, we had a lot of these same regulatory things come through, the transparency, first party data. And I saw how they were evolving. And then I saw how, companies like Facebook that really had explosive growth, how they were architected. And I could kind of see what the problems are going to be just because I had already watched the movie before. So what I thought was fascinating is, there's so many people in FinTech that are so bright and they're well financed. They have tons of resources, but they're usually in a niche, right? They're trained for something. They're probably the best in the world at it. And I am not the best in the world at anything. And in fact, like when I moved to New York, I realized I was like, whoa, I'm like a 20 across the board. But like, I'll keep working and maybe I'll be a little bit better tomorrow. And so I saw the opportunity because with NFTs and with crypto, I don't see a UI that's really standardized across the world. And a lot of people think, oh, I need infrastructure before the UI. But I kind of feel like you need the killer app and the infrastructure comes through, right? And because I don't know what that is, I thought the best bet would be find something that allows any two things to talk. I don't care what they are. I don't care what the interface is. I don't care what the app is. As long as there is content with an object, right? And it can be matched with an additional contact where you generate revenue and attach it to the blockchain. That was a good idea. So in the creator economy, you have tons of influencers that are doing all this stuff, right? But in sports, you have this really unique thing. It's really where the physical and the digital world intersect in one place. And then I had another insight that was like, whoa, these people can't get in the stadium without a digital ticket. So that customer acquisition cost of getting a user is paid for by somebody else. And then whoever the publisher is and the influencer, they're cranking out the content. So we don't pay for that. So now we're just plugging in all these massive ecosystems with existing users and existing business cycles, right? Taking out the most valuable thing, putting it on the chain, helping them monetize and facilitate those payments. And so, I think it's the biggest opportunity I've ever seen. That's why I left trading, because I had never seen markets that are bigger than this. You just never been able to sell a product to 7 billion people before, ever. I don't care what it is. But now you can, and you can sell an unlimited number of projects to all of them, and they all need to be accounted for and paid for. And the amount of opportunity, it's like you can recreate the world. I guess that's why they're calling it the metaverse, because you can create many worlds, right? Starting right now. So it's a really exciting time.
I mean, kudos to that. I love that you were able to, tap into your background on so many different elements and say, what, this is pretty cool. Patrick, Jonathan just mentioned how, blockchain in general there's no uniform structure. There is no set infrastructure. There is a lot of questions, a lot of unknowns. What made you decide to say that whole mess right there, that's what I want to do, that's where I'm going to jump in, and that's how I'm going to make a change?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always wanted to run my own business. I think I like being a point guard in basketball and getting someone else the ball where they need. As a helicopter pilot, you actually count on 3 or 4 other people, and if someone says break right, you don't look, you just trust them and break right, because you're literally all in it together, right? And I enjoy being on very small, fast-moving, competent teams. Went into finance doing that as well. M&A, iBanking, and then have been in tech, worked at Amazon, and just kind of realized I didn't like being in big companies. And summer of 2017, I'd followed crypto for quite a while and invested in it some, and I just thought hey, I think I know enough to be a FinTech CEO. Let's see if anyone agrees. Let's see if co-founders agree. Let's see if investors agree. Let's talk to potential customers. And I was talking to a bunch of crypto whales, and they're all like, look, I have 3 exits. I'm a FinTech expert. I'm writing my own scripts to try to figure out my accounting and taxes, and I'm failing. My accountant doesn't know what to do. My lawyer doesn't know what to do. And so that business fit in a box for me. I looked at some of the early entrants and I thought, well, there's not a lot of automation there. They're not ingesting information in an easy, quick way. There's no customer service. So if I solve this valuable problem, which is getting the numbers right, but I do it with great user experience and great customer service, we'll be doing something good and valuable. And as we go, we'll figure out other things hey, we have your whole trading history. why don't we do your portfolio management? Why don't we suggest like, hey, you're earning 0% interest on this Ethereum. Would you like to earn, 4%, 5%, 10% in Ethereum in it? Like, just helping people out more and more as you go, as you build the business. So we kept raising capital, kept building a team, kept gaining more customers, and just kind of as you go. And it's clear that the tax compliance rate is still very low in crypto, but that also means it can grow very fast, right? Like going from 0.1% tax compliance to 1% tax compliance is growing 10x in your market year over year. And people are increasingly getting into crypto earlier and earlier, right? Like now you're going to have incredibly talented 18-year-olds, and they'll open up a Robinhood account and a Gemini account and a Coinbase account, and they'll be earning income and name, image, and likeness, and they'll start thinking much more, real thoughts like, oh wow, college is actually preparing me for real life. This is interesting, so you're gonna see that. So there'll just be so many more digital natives and crypto natives going forward, and there'll just be more and more interesting and useful problems to solve here.
So you've already, you've punched your ticket, you've stepped onto the court, you said, I'm into this. And as you mentioned, there are new swathes of crypto natives, digital natives who are, jumping in headfirst with you. How do you make sense of what you do to a more traditional crowd? How do you get them to either validate that like the work that you're doing is, important, or how do you get them to even, jump right in there next with you?
I think it's kind of a sorting mechanism. So like the people who still say, crypto is a scam, I'm just not having the conversation with them, right? Like I'll go talk to the next person who's like, I knew crypto was a thing for the last 2 years and I still haven't gotten into it yet. And like those are the people who are ready to have the conversation, right? And that's fine. Like there's still people who won't invest in tech stocks, right? So like you can't win them all over. You just take people as you meet them in life. So I would say that it's something where traditional finance absolutely understands that finance and accounting are important. Knowing where your assets are and how they're moving are important. They absolutely understand that financial innovation is a real thing. So like a traditional top 10 bank will understand, I'm offering basically 0% yield. Decentralized finance allows me to offer 4% on a money market instead. That will allow me to attract a bunch of new checking accounts or something, right? So traditional finance understands these things, and they understand like Western Union certainly understands that 30% transaction fees overseas is probably not going to be sustainable for much longer. So you don't get to operate your company and your business model forever, especially when technological innovation is accelerating an exponential pace, right? It's getting faster this year versus last year versus last year. So these new disruptions that are coming, you'll adapt and you'll come up with your own business plans. You'll acquire startups that are doing really fast, interesting things as well. Like eBay acquires PayPal, Facebook acquires Instagram. It's just a constant thing. If I'm established, I'll acquire the team and the business that's really understanding the real cutting edge right now. And that's just going to continue to play out, I think. So you don't have to worry about winning over traditional finance. The market wins them over. They don't really care what it is. If there's success there, they'll be like, well, that's where I need to be now.
No, I totally get where you're coming from. And I will say to everyone, congrats, Pat, on the traction that you guys are getting. You guys just raised a successful Series A this past August. So, gotta love to see that. Exactly. Thank you. I will take a
Mark Cuban's big into NFTs. So, he loves them. And he was one of our investors in this round. And he's obviously a big believer, as our other VC backers, that, their whole thesis is this, right? There's a traditional economy with a huge amount of assets, and there's a new blockchain cryptocurrency economy that removes a lot of friction and creates a lot of opportunities. So that's where they want to be.
I would add on to that, Patrick, and I think you touched on something that's profound, which is, we think that you can meet some of the older FinTech investors where they are, right? Through sports and entertainment, through the traditional storytelling channels that they understand. But what is really profound, I thought, about what you said is that, if you're selling an NFT today, we really are not only creating the NFT for whoever's buying it today, but who's selling it in 10 or 20 years, right? As this market matures. And some of those people may not even be born yet. right? And not only are they digital natives, but what they think is cool is what they're going to buy and invest in. And so things like identity that Patrick touched on, if you shop at Amazon, you're going to they know everything about you. You're going to get all these services and discounts, and you're going to move in tribes in new ways. Then your tribes are going to be able to move worlds. And so if you start to think about what that looks like and how it operates, you're creating hundreds or thousands or an infinite number of economies. So to be able to build things that are going to account for that, like Patrick's doing, to capture the attention from the traditional way things are being done to way the new things are going to be done. And to monetize it, it's an opportunity really that the planet has never seen. It's crazy. It's a crazy time.
And Jonathan, keeping you on the spot, VEEPIO recently partnered with West Virginia University, and you guys are working with college athletes in order to, again, provide them this agency, especially with their identity. What are the conversations you're having? What are they most excited about? What are they most concerned about? How is this, gaining momentum?
Sure. So what's super exciting is West Virginia just they built something called Vantage Ventures, which is run by Sarah Biller. And what it does is it aligns the resources of the state, the school, and the sports departments, and to create entrepreneurial opportunity for everybody, right? So they've named us the Entrepreneurs in Residence, which is really cool because it allowed us to talk to the students to do what you just asked. So talk to them, letting you know there's someone here listening that played and that didn't get paid. For instance, I had to work illegally until 4 a.m, 3 or 4 nights a week while I was playing because I walked on and I didn't earn a scholarship until my 4th or 5th year. And I just think what an opportunity that would be if someone were able to pay me for my name, image, and likeness. I don't even need not a lot, but even $500 would have mattered a bunch, right? I would have slept 8 hours. I could have maybe taken a couple more finance courses. So that's profound. And so as we talk to the kids, they all seem to understand this. They understand social media. They understand their name, image, and likeness is important. And I think there's what athletes understand inherently is that they're generating value and not really getting the benefit of it. And so we really believe the answer to that is NFTs and capturing first-party data and servicing it for them forever, and doing interesting new things like data asset financing, which we believe is a thing. Because if you start thinking about name, image, and likeness, you essentially want all the students to run their own influencer marketing program while they're playing. They're going to school. They're 18. They've never lived away from home. They have to do their taxes. It's a lot for them to think about. But if you can get the students to opt in together, to get their name, image, and likes as a group, so they just do what they're already doing, and you could monetize that data and finance it, you could pay them all in August. Because that's when they really need to be paid, right? They need to know that they can eat in August before they go, just like anybody else would. Not think they might get a campaign in December before they get home so they get a bus ticket, right? And if you start to dig into these issues even further, you see that more than half of the scholarship athletes are also getting additional financial assistance. And their parents are declaring them as a dependent out of state. And so that is the nightmare that they're not prepared to do, right? They do a $500 deal and they violate their financial aid, right? So monetizing these things, creating new models like data asset financing to pay all the players, the male and the female, the revenue, the non-revenue generating sports is really a profound thing for the country, right? As you think about the NFL, the pro cities are in tier 1 cities, but most of the colleges are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And it's these institutions that define the country. So I think there's a bit of a social impact nation building going on here that hasn't been thought about in this way yet. And I think everyone in this community and the FinTech community, investors, founders, operators, are really doing something that it's really special. And so I'm excited to be a part of it. Just hearing Patrick's story is awesome. I mean, it's very cool.
And to confirm for Morgantown, that is a tier 1 city that Jonathan's referring to.
In our view, yes. At least one getting there.
I mean, I think it's incredible getting to hear these stories, not only your individual stories, but the stories of the people that you're working with, the people who are curious, the people who, really see this as an opportunity to break, intergenerational cycles of poverty, or even just make it so that they aren't living paycheck to paycheck, or have different options to, generate income in a time where sometimes the system just doesn't work.
Josee, I'd like can I say one small?
No, please do.
So I won't say the team's name or even the team, but our partners and I went to see one of the girls' sports teams last week. And so we're older guys, they don't know us. We're just introducing ourselves. And, if someone addressed me back then, I wouldn't have said anything. I probably wouldn't have paid attention. They probably didn't either, except for the fact that a week later, we got an email from one of them. And she said, "Thank you for letting me know that someone is out there trying to help." And it's not just us, right? There's lots of other people that are doing stuff like this. But she said, "I would love for you to take the time, when I get done playing next weekend, to just hear my story, like hear about who I am and like what I care about. So you might be able to match me with a brand that really would respect that." And outside of the sponsorship, I was thinking about it. I got two small daughters, and I was thinking, you know what? The fact that this person took the initiative to do this, they said, "Hey, I know this is a new thing. I know I could make money. I'm worth it. I need to pursue it." The fact that she took that step, I bet you it's going to change her life, whether she does something with us or not, right? And I think this crypto fintech market, the possibilities that we're delivering to younger people who don't think they have a shot to get a job at a Goldman or somewhere else to be in banking, that they can actually do something that they know. It's how often does that happen, right? And it's like so it's really cool. It's really cool. It's giving a voice and earning power to people that don't traditionally have it.
And you're right. And thank you for sharing that story. It's really impactful. And thinking about the barriers to entry, the cost of entry, the ways that it seems like there's too much of an insurmountable learning curve. Maybe this is a good time, since we have, a really cool audience here, really interested in the work that you guys are doing and the work in blockchain in general, to break down that barrier, to remove a bit of that learning curve. Can each of you give a little bit of a warm welcome to someone who is new to this space, who wants to see it as an opportunity but isn't quite sure how to do it? Pat, can you start first?
Sure. Do your own research. Don't fall into YouTube rabbit holes. Try to read up and follow a couple voices that are credible and have been credible for a while. Because just like anything else, you go to Wall Street 100 years ago, there's just people on boxes yelling stuff at you, and you're not really sure who to trust and who not to. And that didn't work out so well. That's why we have the SEC now. And in crypto now, you should be thinking about those types of things. Like stay kind of safe. If you want a little bit of exposure, it's very easy to just start dollar cost averaging in. So you just start an account at any US based institution, a Gemini, a Coinbase, and every 2 weeks you just kind of put what you can afford in. You can put in $10. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. It's fractional. You can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin's trading at $40,000 per one Bitcoin right now. Robinhood lets you do that with Tesla shares too. You don't have to spend $2,000 on a Tesla share. You can buy a fractional share. So, and that will get you caring more, right? So that'll get you studying more. It'll get you thinking more about your own personal finances. And it'll impose a little bit more discipline on you, because that like you're saving $50 a month, you're going to make a couple different purchase decisions, and it's going to be a long-term payoff for you. So those are like good habits over time. And then, just account for it regularly. Every month, hook up whatever, do your own personal spreadsheet if it's simple, use some software like ours if you need to, but just like keep financial hygiene too. So you always kind of know what's going on. And you can just start very small. That way, you can even start for nothing and do trading simulators if you want to, but getting early on, starting with dollar cost averaging is generally the way to go, and then just committing for a long period of time, whether that's stocks, whether that's crypto, generally any asset class. You want to be saving and investing over long periods of time.
That's good advice. I would say ask questions first of yourself. And I think a good one to start with, even before you're buying one of the currencies or opting, is who is this next generation of technology for? Is it for machines or is it for people? Because if it's for people and you're a person already, you know how to connect with another person. And you can kind of take those parallels and those real world experiences that you have that make you unique. And then you can start to think about, okay, how would I have that experience with my friend? You could just say it to yourself how you would do it, list it out, right? Because those things are going to represent instructions of any type of machine or any type of program or business you want to build. And then find yourself a mentor, find someone like Patrick or someone else that you know in your town or your school, and talk to them and ask them questions. And you're going to start to see if you're interested, if you want to be a part of it. And I think it'll just lead to more questions. And you keep introducing yourself to someone. And I think that is the best way, I think, to start. Because it's not only, it starts with questions and conversations, and then it should lead to action and more questions. And then if you want to get crazy, you jump into this world, right? And start building. But it's early days. It's the wild, wild west. There's regulation coming. So I think this is a great time to explore.
Yeah, I think to echo that again, yeah, it's the whole kind of choose yourself moment, right? Whether it be knowing, like, I can invest for myself, right? Or I can publish for myself. I can create content for myself. I can connect with people. I can communicate. And it's never been easier to be curious and to learn and to go ahead and get in and make some mistakes, right? Like TikTok is all about messing up your dance or nailing your dance, right? NFTs will be about nailing that art or messing up that art, but it's okay. Sports is all about picking yourself up a lot, missing a lot of shots, missing a lot of swings. But like, you're there getting better every day and you're there for the competition. And in the end, most sports is about entertaining the people not participating, right? The people not in the arena is why the people in the arena make a lot of money. Yet, like, if no one watched these games, you wouldn't be making money playing the game. It's because you are inspiring and entertaining to the people not participating, right? And so, like, being in that arena has never been easier, because the distribution and creation of that content has never been easier, and finding the small audience that really likes what you're doing, and you being able to iteratively tune that content and that message to get it better, or to get it more popular, or to raise it in value. So all those things are better now than ever, and unlocking it. You don't have to move to New York or LA to try to get someone else to choose you, right? You don't need someone at Goldman Sachs or someone at Paramount Pictures to decide that you're going to get your shot. You take your own shot. You shoot your own shot, but you shoot it every day, multiple times a day. You get better at shooting the shots. Like, that's the big lesson, is there are no gatekeepers. Like, that was one of the reasons I got into crypto, is that there were a lot of cool people doing a lot of cool stuff. They're all multidisciplinary. They're all trying to create a future that didn't exist, and no one's going to keep me out. Like, I probably couldn't have gotten hired at Google. I don't, have this great salesman track record, or I'm not a PhD in AI. Gatekeepers, right? But no one's gatekeeping me here. It's like, if I can build a team and run that team well and please a customer and pitch well to an investor and keep my promises and keep going, then just every day, you just keep doing what you need to do and try to get better, and you just keep choosing, yourself and your path. And it's a lot of responsibility, but so is everything else. It's just like actually admitting that you're driving, you're at the wheel,
Yeah, I mean, you said not only shoot your shot, which is a great phrase, but also be curious, right? And you guys are not only knowledgeable in your experiences and in your technical skills on blockchain and the work you're doing, but you're also passionate and excited and driven. So what are you most excited about next? What are you hoping to, tap into? What's something you're curious to try? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But, what's the next frontier for you guys? Jonathan, let's start with you.
The next frontier is getting every college athlete in the country paid. And I think we'll do that through data asset financing, unlocking their name, image, and likeness value, and creating NFTs. And I love that college athlete piece, because I actually think all college students are going to have NFTs as well. Imagine you could buy the next Jeff Bezos' NFT right now for a penny, because that's going to happen. I think everybody will have them. And I think having this digital record of events or ideas is maybe the biggest idea I've ever heard of outside of writing. It's that big. And so I'm excited about it. That's it.
I'd say for me, it's like the continuing evolution of a global marketplace, right? There are titanic forces moving around. Will China and Japan and EU and US have digital currencies? What's the next country to say that they're going to move off someone else's fiat peg and onto a cryptocurrency or blockchain peg, right? Like in El Salvador saying, we're also going to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. Those things are really interesting. Those things are like human history type things, not just like individual, like what's the newest app type things, right? So those things will echo for quite a while, and those are really interesting. And I think that, again, the envelope of opportunity will just continue to expand. You'll just get more people in entrepreneurship, not just in the United States or not just in outside of big cities, but like the smartest kid in South America or Africa can get MIT courseware, and they can invent a light bulb that only costs 3 cents locally, local materials, local use case. And it's so good that the rest of the world needs to use that light bulb now, right? And those types of things are really interesting. My undergrad was in materials chemistry. So like I think about like science and stuff a lot. And like those again, that accelerating, curve of technology means that if we just like play nice with everyone, right? I'm a military history buff too. We haven't always played nice. We're pretty good at it so far lately. There's some reasons to be concerned with future, but if we just keep playing nice and we keep teaching each other and learning from each other and innovating, things will just keep getting better and better. And it actually is getting better fast. We're like bogged down in some things that make it seem like things are not getting better fast, but they actually are. And that's why we get to pay attention to these like more social issues, because we're not worried about our water and our food and our air and our borders right now, per se, like, tanks on the other side of that border. So we can focus on some of these other things. So that's that. I would try to like think about the big picture a little bit and kind of like zoom out and realize there's just so much opportunity here to just pick one little niche, become an expert, charge ahead, solve problems, and like you'll create more opportunities as you go.
You've hit the nail on the head in terms of saying that, by sharing the knowledge, by sharing the expertise and the growth, it's only going to get exponential from here. And I think, now would be a really great time to just jump right into the questions and answers, because I know we've got a bunch of them, and, everyone's loving this panel. I am too. So let's just dig into it. Just a reminder, if you guys are watching, if you're curious, if you have questions, please drop them in the Q&A button on your right-hand side, and we'll make sure that we can get them in front of these two incredible individuals. So first things first, Jonathan, this one's for you. So can you dive a little bit deeper into the data asset securitization opportunity? Can you say that 3 times fast? And then can you also say how blockchain fits into this opportunity as a whole?
Sure. At a super high level, if you think about a stadium is designed to transact seat licenses, right? And so that data, that transaction is directly attributable to revenue. And another thing that would be directly attributable to revenue is if you lost your customer season ticket holder list, right? Could you still sell at the stadium? You probably could, but it would cost you more. So that's directly attributable to revenue. So you take all that stuff, the rights holder, display ad, food, put all that in a special purpose vehicle. And then if that data would have value to somebody in a recovery scenario, if the first owner of that team went bankrupt, right? The next owner bought it. If that had value, the bank will then lend off of it. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because all these organizations have all this data. It's not something new. It's something that exists. So if the bank will lend on it, just like your house, right? They'll give you a small interest rate. The real thing to think about is, okay, how do I raise the value of this asset, this data, faster than the debt service? Because if you can, it's free money. And you could use this money for CapEx to build out this infrastructure, to build out this new economy, the new tools for the creator, different blockchain applications, right? It's massive. And what I love about it so much is if we can do this, we can standardize the payments to the players. We can pay them all in August when they need it. We can prove it in one spot and roll it out to the country. And if you're able to successfully impact the trajectory of, I don't know how many student athletes there are, maybe 25,000, the most productive people in the country each year. Imagine what that would do in a decade. Not to mention you provide a model for the rest of the world. So anyway, that's why I'm excited about that and why I think it's so big.
Patrick, do you have anything to add? It's okay if you don't. We'll just jump on to the next question.
I think it ties in, but it's just everything's already digitized already, just in a really crappy way. Like the deed to your house is like typed up onto a piece of paper in a filing cabinet in some county clerk's office. But everything's semi-digitized, kind of digitized, but not accessible. All trademarks, all patents, all inventions, all asset classes are kind of being tracked that way. But we can unlock a lot of the income streams a lot more easily. Like part of you buying an electric vehicle with some AI in it and renting it out 99% of the time that it's not being utilized by you, a blockchain is a great solution for that. And then you need a lot more cars. You need a lot less parking spaces. You need a lot less cement. You can have a lot more trees, a lot more parks, a lot more buildings at much lower cost, like things like that, right? So, real estate, your time, your fractional time, the fractional time on the machines you're on, blockchains are supported. It used to be supported by fractional time on machines. Now they're supported 100% by dedicated machines. But fractional power generation, I need 10% of that nuclear power plant's output, right? That's the next thing that's going to happen. So you'll see these things you'll see that digitization get better. You'll see the friction reduced. You'll see the delivery be better. Hopefully you'll have more local production of things too, right? Like no one should be eating blueberries from Argentina in New York in January. We should have vertical greenhouses growing those blueberries in New York, things like that. So those will, as we reduce friction, will increase innovation more, and you'll see more asset securitization, more slicing and dicing of bonds, but it'll also be structured, so you won't get as many blow ups. Like the black swan will be something else because you'll actually have good visibility into how the asset classes and tranches are structured.
Yeah, no, I think that's also something I'm super excited to see in terms of how we're going to take something that consumes so much energy, so much force, so much time, and also just condense it so that we can focus on the other things, right? This is a shout out to Algorand for wanting to be on the greenest, working on being the greenest blockchain, and you mentioned the greenhouses, and I'm just curious, what is something that you're excited about in this space that you're not working on, right? So something that someone else is doing that you are nerding out about, geeking out about, can't wait, reading Google News every 2 seconds to see if there's something there. Pat, do you want to start?
Okay, go ahead, Pat.
Oh, no, so Jonathan, please do.
Well, in the space that I'm not working on is the supply chain. And if you think about, you're moving from just-in-time manufacturing, right, to maybe it's localized, maybe it's 3D printers, whatever the resources required to assemble those components into a machine or service. The fact that those things are going to be on the blockchain and you're actually going to have transparency around them. So people will be able to make great choices about what they're using, what resources are being used to do them. It's going to have a profound effect on the world. The second thing, I think, when people talk about mining and coins and all this stuff, they're also not talking about the efficiencies that are being created and the time that's being saved for billions of people. Like the output of that work, it's not properly being measured, I promise you. The second thing that's really exciting to me is, like Patrick touched on it, is clearing a trade or clearing a payment, right? Traditionally, the stock market is T plus 3 days. Then cash is T plus 1, and now it's happening in real time. And you start to think about some of these services where you're splitting payments. And they're probably not actually being cleared in the bank until the next day. But you have 10 people using this currency. Like, how much leverage and buying power is being unleashed just here, right? And you start to think about 7 billion people being included, the velocity of money. There are profound changes that are going to affect the way you invest. It's it's exciting to think about, because if any of these are right, the long-term 5, 10-year, 15-year implications are profound. It's an exciting time. It's a lucky time to be alive. You know, history doesn't always move like this. You're born at the wrong time. Any opportunity.
Yep. Yeah. There's tons of times in history where it was quite unfortunate to be born there. But that you just had to make the best of it. Yeah, I would say that since we've touched on so many things, one of the things we haven't touched on yet is like all the social good initiatives. And again, the transparency and the lowering of friction is facilitating these things. And so we talk a lot about taking kind of the roof or the ceiling off of your earning potential, right? And you know, name, image, and likeness does that. But also, like, there's a lot of people who kind of need the floor raised, right? And there's a lot of people where it's inefficient in the way we're getting financial help to the people who need it, right? And so many more people need it. There's like no reason there should be millions of poor and starving kids in America, and yet there are, and most of it is due to just ridiculous, stupid inefficiencies that could be solved pretty quickly if someone just like cared enough and was able to marshal some forces and some resources. So I think like things like that will start to be untenable. Like we just won't allow the floor to be so low for so many people, and we'll just benefit from that, right? There will be millions of people who would have had a much harder time in life, but they have a much better time in life, and that means better education, better jobs, lower crime, higher productivity for everyone. Like we'll all benefit, right? And I think those things are going to be coming online pretty soon as well. Maybe you'll see little tests. Maybe it'll be in a small country versus a big country, but it'll prove it out, and it'll kind of you'll be able to ship it over and implement. And I think those things will be really impactful as well.
I mean, you're at the right place. We're talking about inclusive and sustainable finance. So, I mean, this conversation has already touched upon the ways that blockchain, NFTs, you know, image and like everything can really open up opportunities for not only yourself, but if you can tell your neighbors, get in on this. This is something you want to get in on. Like you mentioned, Jonathan, investing in the first, you know, NFT by the next Elon Musk, you know, things like that. And I think this is definitely the place to be. And I'm thankful that you guys are here. You also took the time to introduce everyone else. I mean, you know, just to wrap things up, what can people do to learn more about the work that you guys are doing? What can people look forward to if they're, you know, hitting that like button, subscribing, ring that bell? How can they, you know, keep in touch? How can they follow along, support, get involved, you know, et cetera, et cetera? Tell us more. Jonathan, let's get started with you.
So if you find us on Twitter, it's VEEPIO, VEEPIO. Just connect with us. We're looking for sponsors who want to pay the players. And we have technology to facilitate that. We can have them do it in any number of ways. But we just want to kick it off because we know once more transactions occur with a breadth for the men and the women, the bigger national players are going to come in and say, hey, this is how you do it. We're going to do it everywhere. And so we're really excited about that. So if you're a sponsor that cares about this type of thing, hit us up. If you're an investor that wants to be part of this and you want to have something to add, we don't just want passive people, we want a movement. Hit us up. And if you're, you know, a talented person that wants to be involved, we know that great people, we're talking about technology, but you don't get technology without great people. And so we're always looking for those. So come find us, say hello. We'd love to meet you.
Cool. For me, I dropped a couple links in the chat here. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick Larsen, Larsen, and then at ZenLedger.io. Use the coupon code Boston15 and you get 15% off. There's an October 15th filing deadline, but we can also help you in late December or anytime next year. We are looking to hire as well. So if you're a software developer, customer service, marketing, you know, please hit our chat on ZenLedger.io and just tell them who you are and what you're looking for, and we can get in touch.
Amazing. All right. I mean, I think that wraps it up for our questions for our session. Let me just do a quick little
Thank you, Josee.
Little run through. Thank you guys. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
been really fun.
been amazing. This has been fantastic. Guys, if you're watching this later, if you're watching this on the blockchain, like 50 years from now, make sure that you guys say that you were here, you knew about it. And, thank you guys again. Thank you all for watching. Remember to hashtag Boston FinTech Week 2021. Follow these lovely individuals and their incredible companies moving forward. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Patrick. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you, Jonathan. Thanks so much, Josee. It was really fun.